Got to wear this hat today because I'm getting a haircut in a little while. I know, stop laughing. Just a buzz, a quick buzz cut.
What does that take?
A one? No, don't. I asked you not to. I think I use like a 1 on the sides and a 1.5 up top or something. And I keep the sideburns. Try to distract people from balding.
Grow a beard.
My wife won't let me. I want to, because I think it would match good. I think it would. No, she won't let me do it though. So she's health-wise, everyone was in today, so I know you guys probably saw that up top. So I think you really like having the 15-player roster. I think it's just going to give us an ability to practice to the max, but then keep the team fresh. So hopefully we could, hopefully that'll be a big advantage, especially for the way that we practice. But it was good to get that first one under the belt, and for the players, we've got like over 100 more of those at that intensity level. So just told them that, so they got that to look forward to.
Dan, does it feel like it's number one, or like is it just a continuation of what you've been doing?
Not for us. I mean, and just I think the best programs. I think the best programs in the country are the practicing all summer. Obviously there's a different level of intensity. There's more of a defensive focus. The practice is longer, so I think you have a better opportunity to develop habits, and then instill a toughness in the team, because you got to be able to take what you're doing for an hour or an hour and 10, and now stretch that out to 2 hours and 10 minutes, or I think it ended up being like 2:15 today. So, but the best, you can't accomplish anything in our sport, unless you're grinding throughout the summer, throughout the preseason. If you want to have a chance to win anything in the world that we're in.
So what keeps one year from bleeding into the next, right? Where do you give yourself those checks and balances to reset or regroup where you need to?
I just think this off-season we just had a lot more time, just because we were didn't have as many responsibilities like we've had the last two off-seasons. So I think from a coaching standpoint, it just gives you more time to focus on your craft, I think, and then I think in terms of the group, it changes your pursuit. I think our pursuit of being championship caliber, our pursuit with absolutely everything we have, is at a different level of urgency. Coming off of last season.
You talked about your defense not playing well last year as a team. With all this offseason and now, is it at this point in a better spot than it was last year at this particular point?
Yeah, I think it's better. I think I think we've got better individual defensive players. We struggled mightily on the perimeter last year. Literally at all three spots on the perimeter, with the exception of a healthy Hassan. We didn't get what we needed from anyone defensively on the perimeter, and that's including guys that were really productive on offense. So I think that we've got a lot of work to do at that end of the court, but that's you're not playing through mistakes on defense this year the way you were able to last year.
How about as far as rim protection? You don't have a Donovan, you're even a Sampson. Do you think Taras, and I know Eric tends to be a little more of a perimeter guy, but do you want him to be a little, improve upon that and be a little more of a protector?
Yeah. It's I think guarding the ball better. I think I think we were number one in the country last year in block shots, but the ball was at the front of the rim a lot. Because we were not good defending on the perimeter. So you're going to get driven some, but our problem last year was like straight line drives. There's no help for straight line drives. Being able to force somebody off their move a little bit laterally, can help you there. Rim protectors can get there then consistently. But yeah, I think we just got a better chance. A point of attack defense starting at point guard with Silas, who's taller, a taller point guard. Malachi's got the ability to pressure the ball, and and then obviously the guys that are returning. I think Braylon's got a chance to be a good defensive player because he's a serious guy, and he's physically, I think he's strong enough. And then obviously Solo and Jalen and Jaden, these guys, they got to play good to very good to great defense.
And how's Malachi looked coming off? I know he was obviously sidelined by the injury for a while. But.
Yeah, we're excited about Malachi. I think he's got some of what Hassan brought to the 24 team. Some of that, I think. I think he's an attacking player. He's a guy that makes plays. I think the fans will love him. I think he's like a real critical key piece to the team. He's going to have a huge role.
You have a lot of the veterans like Solo and Alex help you through the grind of this build up to the season.
How have they?
How have they helped you really?
In Alex, at this point, it's like, he's literally like another coach. Like he's like, it's my relationship with him is like kind of strange. We've been around each other so much. It's like I got on him a little bit in the huddle, and I almost felt like apologizing after. But it's just been through so much together. The incredible highs, and then a disappointing last year, and then you go through these decision-making processes that he's had to deal with, and you just bonded so closely through everything together. So I just cherished this last year with Alex in particular. But yeah, like that trio of guys there, Solo, Alex, Taras. These got to be leading men. They've got to be like the Hawk, Andre, Adama, big three that we had that were just, they were productive, they led, they controlled the locker room. I think we do have a great locker room again this year, so yeah.
Dan Solo in particular, he did a great job as a freshman.
Yeah.
As part of like that second wave of filling in behind the scenes, and he emerged last year in a much different role. What do you how do you look back on that, and what do you expect?
Yeah, Solo established himself as one of the best shooters in the country coming into the year. You can make an argument that he's the best returning shooter. Obviously the volume and the efficiency. It's the room for him where he's got to grow is obviously when he gets in the paint. His overall guard play as a passer. His rim finishing, and then obviously the defensive end. For your team to be championship caliber, he's obviously got to make a big jump defensively in particular. But I thought he had an awesome sophomore year. I don't think he's got to change a whole lot offensively to his approach, besides those things I talked about. Maybe a slicker passer and better rim finisher, and then he's got to commit defensively. Like our perimeter defense last year.
He's athletic enough,
guys.
Good enough to do that.
Well, I think that he and it's like he's got such a superpower with the shooting. But if you like Solo's evolution has like been one of the more remarkable things, because he kind of came in here as like an Andre Jackson type of athlete, and then now he's evolved into like a Jordan Hawkins type of shooter. But he still has that athletic ability that we want to see him, cutting for lobs, getting on the offensive glass. We want him hanging on the rim more.
You have a lot of internationals coming in. Is that a big part of recruiting now? You kind of have to look beyond just this region.
Yeah, I think it's maybe the thing for us is we're looking for players that want to be coached. I think an advantage with maybe some of the international kids is like they're getting coached harder overseas when they're younger. The coaches overseas aren't afraid that their kid's going to change high schools or AAU teams or what have you. So I just think that there's a culture, over there where they could acclimate to hard practices and demanding coaches and the type of structure we put around them. So that's appealing. you know, and then obviously I would say that that's the most appealing. I don't know if it was a conscious effort. I think today's game now, you've got an NIL budget, and you're looking for value, and you're looking for players with certain profiles, and maybe I'll probably get. I'm not going to say it. Maybe an American player priced himself out, or you know what I mean. I don't know, but I don't know if we necessarily went in looking for international players so much as people that are going to fit to how we do things.
You mentioned getting back to championship caliber. How much of the way last season ended the tournament, maybe you or the group used as fuel to getting back to that level?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen. Once you get to the mountaintop and experience that, any season that doesn't end like that, for the rest of your career, even though it's probably not realistic to do it every single year, but in a year that doesn't end like that, you got a kind of bitter taste in the off season, and so yeah. I mean, I don't know, that we're necessarily going to coach harder or practice harder. I just think that last year's team, there was just this feeling that the group had that just because everyone had signed on to come play for us at UConn, that there was some type of magic dust or something that we were going to sprinkle in their Powerade. Or is that what we used to do, Powerade? We're a Powerade school?
Sure.
Trying to look for a logo. Yeah, we're Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, in our Dunkin' Donuts, in the players' Dunkin' Donuts or
Powerade.
Coffee. Powerade?
Mushroom coffee school.
Mushroom coffee. Bulletproof. Yeah, so I just think that last year's team, I thought it was maybe we thought we could do it with absolutely anyone, and I think what made those teams special was just the commitments, the efforts on defense, how hard we played, and I think that this group is our pursuit is going to be much different. Our pursuit of this championship and getting back on top is going to be different.
Was there a pleasant surprise through the whole preseason or off-season for you? Somebody stand out or something about the teams really stand out?
I would say just, maybe what Alex looks like. I mean, Alex has put on 10 pounds of muscle. He's like 230s plus. He just looks real sharp and looks like a grown up. And I just think you get a lot of confidence when you start your team with what Solos look like all summer, Taras has looked like all summer, Alex has looked like all summer. And again, I think, and I said this with this team, it's like how we're pursuing getting back to where we want to be with everything that we have, because when you get there, it's absolutely worth everything that you gave, and you're on top. But this is a group that's going to have, you got to earn your role. I know I said it last year, but it's like now these guys that maybe, that were sophomores and weren't ready are now juniors. And if it's a numbers game, I think it's hard to play 10 players, and I think that there's legitimately, probably 12 that think they got a chance to play. And so you got to earn, you're going to have to earn your role. I think one of the mistakes I made early last year was I had a vision of how I wanted the team to look, and I probably should have sent a different team out there to start the year. I think that the group that I'm going to send out there to start the year is going to be the group that earns it 3 weeks from yesterday. 3 weeks from yesterday, these guys are going to either be announced as a starter, you're going to be the sixth man, you're going to be the fourth guy in that's going to get limited minutes, or you're going to get deep spaced and you're going to play late, and you're going to earn wherever you are in that whole that whole role allocation. So
Dan, with the 15-man roster you talked about, you kind of have that layer of developmental players.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have young guys you've retained, veterans that you bring in, guys coming in from overseas. Is that in line with that vision that you expressed about a year ago, that you wanted to be known as one of the best basketball operations in the world?
Yeah.
Is that kind of coming together the way you envisioned, or maybe rules changes of change that vision a little bit. Do you see all those things coming together?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we obviously have the evidence. With championship success, we got the evidence with the people that we're producing that are not just in the NBA. When you look across the board of just the guys in the last several teams we've had, they're all flourishing overseas or in the NBA or in some cases the G League. So and I think the 15-player thing is it's you're experimenting with the trade-off there is like you've got a chance to develop some players, you got a chance to practice harder but keep maybe some of your veterans fresher, but let the young players get the reps that they need as you get later in the season, because that becomes a problem as a coach. You'll have like Alex late in the year that doesn't need reps, but then last year's Jaden Ross needed reps as a sophomore. So you'd be able to be more like a la carte with practice that way. I guess the only thing we'll find out is if having 15 people is too many pains in the ass to deal with during the year, I guess, Like, do I really want to deal with 15 human beings, plus Tom, Luke, and Kamani? I mean,
So what is the guy who's running a pro team in Slovakia or Turkey? What do you think he's saying about a guy? Hey, we have a chance to get a guy from UConn. What do you think he's thinking immediately of the UConn brand on that player?
yeah, I mean, UConn. I think whether you're NBA or an international team, I think somebody that's been in a demanding program. That's somebody that is going to be able to function really well in structure. In a system that prioritizes like discipline, and being about the right things, being competitive, working hard, being coachable, and coaches can coach our players hard when they leave here. One biggest complaint I get from players, especially in the NBA, is like they wish their teams coached them harder. They wish their coaches practiced them harder. They wish the coaches, So I think that somebody that knows how to be a good teammate, and it's about winning, and it is, has played for the front of the jersey.
I know Thibs came through here during the summer with some of the other coaches, GMs, or whatever. If you could share, they've kind of come through and watched to see what you do.
I mean, hanging out with Tibbs for a couple of days was a highlight for me. I love Tibbs, and his mom is like crazy UConn fan still, like throwing shit at the TV. Level fan. I mean, he's a Connecticut guy. So my kindred spirit, Joe Mazzulla, was in. We spent some time with Joe. We've had international people through here, and now I think this time of year you start to get more of the NBA people start to come in here. But I think we get high school coaches in here. We get Division II, Division III coaches. I think I get the best ideas. For me as a coach from like Europe, Division II, Division III.
You mentioned the big three, the 23 team, and sort of looking at how similar the rosters kind of look. How intentional was that in creating the roster?
I think you're just looking at it from a standpoint of like, like who are your core players, and with Taras, there's obviously similarities there with the Dama from a physical standpoint, how we utilized him. You obviously got the Jordan solo comp. Alex is now potentially 3 years better than that version of himself. I think our point guard situation has us, I think, feeling more confident, or feeling you're just very confident. There's some depth there. There's some quality there. Braylon's a flamethrower. And then you just got real depth. Just like that, there's these guys that are like the 10th man, the guy that is likely to get, like the 9th and 10th guys that are likely to probably get squeezed here are like really good players. Like really, really good players that would help other high majors this year. So I think the strength of this team is the depth, like that team, whereas like Off the bench, it was Naheem, it was Joey, it was Donovan, it was Hassan. We went 9 deep, and that's what made that group special.
You're playing exhibitions that are live against Division I opponents.
Yeah.
What are the pluses and minuses from doing that?
I mean, the pluses are that I think we're playing like really hard exhibitions this year, which I think is going to have us more ready than we were last year for the beginning of the year. We were not ready for Maui, and it showed with our performance there. And I think part of that was because we didn't probably schedule hard enough those types of games, which would have had us more ready for what we saw when we shared the floor with Memphis. So we obviously learned from that. The negative part of it is you're really 3 weeks from yesterday. It's going to be messy. We're not going to be who we're going to be by the time it really starts. I look back to the 24 year when we scrimmaged at Virginia, and we were down 3 to that Virginia team that I don't think they made the tournament, or if they did make the tournament, they didn't make it. And Cam Spencer hit a 3 so that we didn't lose that one outright in that close scrimmage on the road. So, and then obviously we had a historic. So it could be a little bit of a shit show. But I think just playing quality opponents tells you where you got to get better. And then we're going to get in front of 2 big atmospheres, which is going to help, I think, with the nerves come opening night.
Rick Pitino was saying how the point guard position doesn't really exist anymore. Sounds a little bit like an exaggeration, but do you kind of understand maybe what he's saying? And with that in mind, does that change how the roles of Silas and Malachi might be this year a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think, you have a primary handler. I think we all have a primary. Tristan was our primary handler. He had the ball, probably 50% of the time for how we play offensively. And then Cam probably had it 20% of the time, and by the end of the year, Steph had it, 20% of the time, and maybe AK had it, another 5. I don't even know where we're at with the math right now. I'm lost, but it's you're looking for versatile pieces. You're looking for size at guard and on the perimeter and multiple handlers, because for us, the way we play offense, is interchangeable. You got to be able to play on ball, off ball. So for us, if you look at what we're doing in recruiting, we are looking for bigger guards. I think for the positions that we put our guards in offensively, in particular, forget about what they do on the backboard at the defensive end in terms of the length. I think the difference between how we were offensively with those teams with those big guards, the ability to throw the lobs, the ability to spray it out to the 3-point line, the ability to finish at the rim or get fouled, when they're not 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", it becomes more problematic. Our career, Hall of Fame type of resume, and obviously the job he's done in multiple places, and I think coach that'll be missed. Obviously, there's a lot of coaches, recently, have been retiring. I think I don't know if it's the uncertainty, where you're still not knowing if people are going to get a 5th year as October is about to hit, and just some of the lack of structure and leadership in the game itself. I'm not sure if that's what did it, but coach was somebody that I admired. I admired what he's built in his career, and I wish his son good luck, coach his kid. So excited to see what his son does.
I read somewhere that you were thinking of doing a similar thing this past offseason. Not in September.
Yeah, I don't think Andrew's ready.
I didn't mean.
Andrew will not be available for comment.
Andrew's not ready.